Hi everyone, my name's Elisa McConnell, and I have a few things I want to talk to you guys about that are dealing with autism. There are a lot of things that we do that we don't know how to do, but we're learning. And when we learn how to do certain things, we'll understand it more by being visual learners. Well, some of those things can be hard to understand too when they're not visual. I learned this week from being in a webinar with Temple Grandin on the severities of different types of autism that there is. And then I also learned about how we're visual learners and how there are certain things that with visual learning that we all have to put together. And with learning, it can be difficult sometimes when it's not visual. Trust me, I understand that because I'm a visual learner myself. And along with this, I learned that even though I'm a visual learner, that's not a bad thing. And you have to embrace it. You have to embrace having autism because autism is not a bad thing. It's not. It's a good thing. It's just, in my opinion, a different way of learning, a different way of seeing. We all have our own tics and our own interests. But with me, having autism, it's not hard.
Hey, Lisa.
It's not
Lisa.
bad. It's not bad having autism. And it's not what people would call a disease. It's nothing like that. For me, having autism means that not only is it a different way of seeing things, but it's a different way of learning. Everyone learns different. Everyone sees things different. But we're all able to function in our own way. And a lot of us don't know how to do certain things, like being social. We don't know how to do that. We're not very good at it. With high functioning autism, we tend to be shy. And we don't know how to socialize with others because sometimes we're afraid to. In high school, when I was in one of my classes, I was in the special education classes throughout my entire high school career. And in one of my classes I had that wasn't a special ed class at all, it was an art class. Some of the kids knew I had a disability, and the ones that did know, some of them were rude. And some of them were not rude at all, but they would defend me in a heartbeat. The ones that would not defend me, I tried to make friends with, and when I tried to make friends with them, they would call me the R word and they would say some pretty horrible things to me. And some of them were rather bad stuff of what they would say to me. And when they found out I even had a disability, that I was different from them, granted they were rude. I ended up not speaking to them again because they would tell people that I was the R word and that I don't know how to function clearly, and that I was diseased. And for a 15-year-old girl, that can hurt. Trust me, it can. Throughout my entire teenage years, it hurt. Because I wasn't making friends. I wasn't being social. And the friends I did have that didn't have a disability at all stood by me. Now, wanting to be social, but not knowing how to do so, is a hard thing to do, especially for a person with autism like me. I had to learn it. I had to learn how to be social with others. I had therapy. I had friends that would teach me how to be social, how to interact with others. Because making friends wasn't easy. It was not easy for me. But I grew out of that. Because after high school, I went to a day hab program. And all those people, like all of the student body, were disability. It's like I was in my own environment. I was in an autism field. I was in a mostly autism criteria of people. Granted, there were some that didn't have autism and had a different disability. I was fine with that. At this particular school, I learned a lot about myself. I even picked up a language that I never knew existed. I picked up on sign language. And I ended up making friends with an entirely different community than I had originally thought. I made friends with the deaf community, and I was autistic. I was thinking to myself, I'm actually using sign language, and they're understanding me. They're actually understanding the way that I'm talking. I'm not using my voice, I was using my hands to do the talking. I was starting to pick up on it, and I noticed some funny sayings and some non-funny sayings, and just the way that they spoke, and watching them talk to each other, and it felt really good. I actually made friends. And I was starting to make friends with people who had autism, that were just like me. In fact, I made a few friends that were girls that were like me, but I was the oldest of all of them. And I ended up having a few good friends with me, but they were like me in so many ways. They were either autistic, or they had ADHD, or they had some type of disability. In a way, I felt home. I felt like I found my purpose, being with these people and being with the deaf community. I was learning how to socialize with people who were just like me. It meant the world to me that I was learning how to do it. I was learning how to interact with others by talking with them, by being social. And they were in classes with me. They went to the same school as I did. And it felt good. It felt good to have friends. And these friends, I'm still friends with them now. I'm still friends with every single person that I met on my first day there after high school. So, making friends became a lot easier. So, being social, you have to learn how to do it. whether it's using sign language or using your voice to speak for somebody. It's easy to do. It's very easy. After turning out to where I was a shy person, to actually learning how to talk, using my hands but not using a voice. It felt weird at first, but they understood it. So with that being said, I wanted to give you guys a little thing of what happened in my life about how being social was a hard thing at first, but then I learned how to be social. I did a lot of people watching. People watching is when you're watching someone and you copy their move, but you learn how to do it yourself. And so I did a lot of that, and it's how I learned, because I was watching someone. I was watching how people interacted with others when I didn't even know how to do that at first. But I learned. In the next video, I'm going to talk about more autistic problems I had when I was in school. But I'm also going to be teaching about how I learned how to do certain things. And one of those things is actually by thinking in pictures. This book right here, by one of my favorite authors and mentors, Temple Grandin. This book I highly recommend. It's called Thinking in Pictures by Temple Grandin. And it says, Thinking in Pictures and Other Reports from My Life with Autism. Temple Grandin is possibly one of my favorite authors. I just ordered one of her books, actually, from the webinar that I was in, and she was talking about the autistic brain and how we function and how we learn and the different severities of autism. But it felt good to learn from her. And in fact, I'm actually going to be learning from her again, because I signed up for another webinar with her. I ended up getting a certificate for spending a 1-hour webinar with her, and I enjoyed every single minute of it, to tell you the truth. I enjoy things like that, and if you guys want to do it too, I'll be posting on my Facebook page when webinars are with her and everything, so be a lookout for that. And you can always order her books on Amazon and even at your local bookstore if you guys have one near you. But I would recommend buying the books and thoroughly reading them, because she gives something to think about every single time you read one of her books. Because she gives you a little bit of an insight on what autism is like, because she has it herself. So, I will see you guys in the next video, and we'll talk more. Bye.